Hello, everybody. Welcome back here to the Line Pride Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Brady Bohannon.
I'm Jackson Han.
I'm Cash May.
And I'm Pierce Elsey.
And we're going to go over basketball recap from last Friday's game, yesterday's game, and what's ahead. We're going to start with last week's game at Huntsville. Girls. We're going to start with the girls' game. Took a big loss, 58-21, and the wheels just fell off from the start in this one. I feel like they couldn't run an offense, and Huntsville's pressure just got to all of our players, and that's really the story of the game.
Yeah. Also, the 1-3-1 for the girls I don't know if it was positioning or what, but Huntsville did a really good job against that 1-3-1, and they kind of just sliced through it like
Swiss cheese.
Yeah, Swiss cheese. And, the 1-3-1 was kind of what was – Huntsville was really hurting the 1-3-1. I didn't see so much against man because they didn't play a lot of man, but the 1-3-1, they were just hitting skip passes, getting the ball inside too easily.
Yeah, to me, it's been the same thing we've talked about for past couple weeks or so. To me, it was the lackluster, taking bad shots you should not take, and turnovers. Rebounding game was not great. Poor shot selection and turnovers, like we've said. I think the rebounding game was a little lackluster, but it's always it varies every game. I'm really hoping they find something because we're starting the back half of conference, and I think that they need to figure something out quick.
Mackenzie Roten's been out. She's a key role player, key player to the Lions. And Pittman's been switching the lineup around. So I just think I think it's just kind of like an experiment right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
I
just
think
trying.
They're trying new.
They're just trying to find something that clicks.
Some of that is necessary.
Some of that is necessary. I agree.
And then the boys' game, boys took a loss 54-41. It was a competitive game until those last couple minutes. The door was open for either team, and Huntsville just happened to be the team to walk in the door.
Yeah, we had a great start to the game. We were up 9 or 10 in the first quarter, and then they got hot, and we made a lot of mistakes. We had some turnovers and some poor execution that killed us. All night, I don't think after the first quarter, pretty much all of our sets that we ran, someone was in the wrong spot. We messed up some kind of execution. I didn't hit shots like I needed to. So, all those things, and then you leave shooters open on defense, and we give that up. That's just not a good recipe to win.
Yeah, started the first quarter really great. End of the first quarter, score was 16-4. Nothing was falling for Huntsville. We had all the momentum, and then something just happened. In the second quarter, we got in foul trouble, let them go to the line a lot. Hustle plays, let a lot of offensive rebounds happen. Like you said, leaving guys open that shouldn't be open. There were a lot of open threes that Huntsville were able to take. I think we made runs here and there, but I think overall because of the fact that hustle wasn't fully there, and because of the messing up sets and defense and stuff like that, it just you can only do so much.
We knew it was going to be a tough one going into Huntsville. It's hard playing there for sure, but that doesn't take away really anything. We didn't play as well as we should have. They hit big shots, and they did what they were supposed to do. We didn't play our best. We knew it was going to be a physical game, and we just didn't play as physical as we should have, and it just kind of felt like we weren't there competitively, physically, mentally.
So when Huntsville comes over to Gravette in a couple weeks, that one should be interesting and fun to watch. Last night, as we're recording this on Wednesday, Lions hosted rivals Gentry at home. The girls took a loss 69-53. They were in it most of the game. And then you get to the fourth quarter, and the wheels just fell off. Costly turnovers and Gentry just hit some big threes to give them all the momentum they needed at the end of that game.
Yeah, I thought our girls, that was honestly one of their best offensive games throughout the game. I mean, until that fourth quarter, that's when they kind of started to struggle. But, I mean, they were hitting shots. They were getting good shots, and it was all clicking. I'd say that was one of their best offensive games so far. But just a tough loss, and Gentry got hot at the end. That was just an unfortunate loss. But
Yeah, and shout out to Mira Russell and Lily Sharp. They had some big shots last night to keep the Lions in the game. They were really the engine of that team last night.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch the full game. I didn't get to see the fourth quarter. I went in with the boys during the third. When I left, the score was 43-40. I think sometime in late third quarter. What I saw was really good offense. Offense was working really well. Lily was shooting the ball really well. Mira was shooting the ball really well. Mira was driving to the basket really well. Offense just seemed to be clicking. Again, I didn't watch the fourth quarter, so I don't know what exactly happened. But, I think that, that could be used as a bit of a momentum shift to be like, okay, we figured something out on offense. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it going. We still have a lot of games left.
I feel like I've kind of been saying this all year. Ride the hot hand. And Mira Russell and Lily Sharp have both been playing really well this year. And they showed last night that they can score really well. And that's what they did, and I feel like that's what they will be continuing to do for the rest of the season. So
yeah, I'd say defensively, when Gentry's hitting shots the way they were, there's only so much you can do. But the one thing I saw that I think could get cleaned up and could have held them out a lot was stopping the ball in transition. And a lot of times they got lucky that Gentry didn't always capitalize on that. But I think that was the biggest thing I saw was Gentry was getting the ball, pushing it in transition. I mean, that happened in the boys' game as well.
Yeah.
Just not stopping the ball in transition. But that gave up, I think, a lot of buckets down the stretch, especially in the third quarter that I saw.
And the boys survive a nail-biter, getting the win 64-63, off to a hot start. And then Gentry just came chopping away, and luckily the buzzer sounded before Gentry was able to take the lead and do anything with it.
Yeah, that one was a tough win. I think that we are more than 1 point better than Gentry. But, I mean, that was just a tough one. I mean, it was physical. They rebounded really well. They hit the offensive glass really hard. But me, Kais, and Jackson were really clicking on offense. I think they both had 15. I had 20. So that's, 50 combined points from us three. And I think that we're best when me, Jackson, and Kais are all clicking really well because that opens up for everyone else. Because just having to stop those three alone is really tough. Jackson's getting to the rim when I'm hitting shots, and Kais is just working inside. And then, think about it, they're gassed, and we got Pierce and other guys coming off the bench, and they do a really good job coming on and keeping the energy up.
Right. And I think keeping on the thought of, guys coming off the bench, we had a lot more depth than they did, or at least guys that came in and played. I think eventually they didn't start, subbing more than two people at a time until maybe the third quarter. So just kind of to show that the depth that we have on the bench is important to our game. And on top of that, offense looked really well last night. You had 20, like you said. Jackson and Kais both had 15. If there was something I think I would change a little bit, I would think that we had a few costly turnovers that made the game close. I think it would have been a little, it would have been a different game if the turnovers weren't a factor. Rebounding was really good, beat them by a good amount. But yeah, the only negative I think I have about the game was the turnovers, but everything else looked really good. It was a really fun game to watch. It was honestly a scoring battle. I really truly enjoyed watching both teams as Nehemiah Harrington went off for 30 with I don't even know how many 3-pointers.
Too many.
It was yes, too many, but really truly it was a fun game to watch. I hope that everybody that came enjoyed it, but I'm really glad that we came out with the win because it's a hard-fought battle.
I'd come out with this. It's a rivalry game. We know it's going to be tough, but there's no way it should have been that close.
No.
Offensively, we played great. How many did we score? Like 65?
64.
64, 63.
Defensively, we did not play like we should have.
Yeah. But offensively, I mean, we could have scored a lot more. And not only turnovers, but we were getting sped up in their press. And honestly, we got lucky the amount of times we had almost turnovers and ended up not turning the ball over. Just a lot of, like, dangerous skip passes across their zone. I got to give it to them. Their zone and their pressure was really good, but I think that we needed to just slow down a little bit and handle it a little bit better. We were kind of rushed, just not really rational, just not taking care of the ball like we needed to, especially at the end. We almost turned the ball over about 3 times in the last minute. Could have given them the lead.
Yeah. I really think, though, even though, yes, we are not as good, we are not only 1 point better than Gentry, I think that low-key Gentry should be a team that other people should watch out for because they can get hot like that. Yeah. Like, I did not honestly expect Nehemiah Harrington to come out and pull 30 out like that. I think we were really lucky that number 1 only scored 10 points because
he had 17.
He had 17?
Nehemiah
and keep up.
Nehemiah and Lala combined for 46.
My bad. I thought it was 10.
Was it? I swear.
17 and 29.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
well,
46.
And also number 25 had a great night from 3.
He
too.
did. He had a really good night, and he did look like he'd be a shooter.
Their 3 players had about 50 of their points like ours did.
Yeah. So I think because of that, I don't know what you would expect every game. I don't know, they could have different looks every game like that. I think that legitimately they're a team to look out for. Yes, I think we're better than them by a lot. I don't think that we should play them to a 1-point lead every game, but I definitely think that it's a better win than we think it was. Yes, defense was bad. Yes, turnovers were bad, but I still think it was a quality win. Personally,
I agree. And looking on to Friday's games, we're just going to go over our quick thoughts for these coming up. We're going to start with the girls. Both teams will host Shiloh on Friday. And for the girls, I mean, Shiloh's the best team in the conference. And who's better than Shiloh?
P. Ridge beat Shiloh.
You think P. Ridge is better than Shiloh?
P. Ridge beat Shiloh. P. Ridge is undefeated in conference right now for girls.
There you go. Shiloh and P. Ridge are obviously at the top. And for Gravette, it's really just going to take a really hard-fought, almost perfect game to beat Shiloh.
You're going to have to learn how to break. Excuse me. Ugh. You're going to have to learn how to break their press. I mean, it was, 20-0 in the first quarter last time we played them, just from turning the ball over in the press and just them getting easy layups. Like, we couldn't get the ball past half court.
I mean, I think our girls are better than that score at the first quarter. But I think, they just got to not have those lapses where they go on those long streaks of turnovers. If they can just eliminate those lapses, I think that it's going to be a lot better game, and that's just what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to play defense, and they're just going to have to get rid of those mental lapses on offense where they just go on these long turnover streaks and scoring droughts. I think that's what's been hurting them a lot.
Yeah.
I agree. I have nothing else to say besides that.
And for the boys' Shiloh game, really just 2 talented teams going at it. It was an awesome game last time they played. So, I'm excited for this one. I think if Gravette limits their turnovers like they had the last time they played Shiloh, I think if they can limit that, it should be a win.
Our transition defense is what killed us against Shiloh. Their point guard kind of really just set at half court, and they just threw it up to him for wide open layups at the end in the fourth quarter. That really got them the lead and got them their confidence back to help them win the game. I think if we played them, though, offensively like we did and defensively, we didn't play bad defensively. It was just 2 or 3 errors and then, the layups at the end of the game. But I think it'll be a good one.
Honestly, we'll have to see what, the game plan looks like. But I think that this game may be played differently defensively for us than it was last time because watching the Huntsville game, watching the P. Ridge game, just watching their last few games, I haven't had a chance to watch their game against Green Forest yet. But honestly, Duke hasn't looked nearly as aggressive in those games. But, it's honestly worked out for Shiloh because their role players, especially 23, 12, and 2, have really stepped up. They look really good, and they've got a lot of confidence right now. those three are hot. I don't think Duke has been their leading scorer their last few games.
Which is surprising because he's been their hot hand for the past 3 years.
Duke's he's a great player. He had 31 against Little Rock Christian, guarded by J.J. Andrews, who's a 5-star. So, I mean, he's deadly on offense, but, you know, he hasn't looked as aggressive. He hasn't looked like he's been trying to score as much. I'm not sure if that's just trusting his teammates more or if just because his teammates have been hot or if that's a coaching thing. But I think that when they're a lot more balanced, I think they're honestly better because, I mean, we held Duke to 7 points and they only scored 40.
Yeah.
And Duke was really aggressive that game every time he did get the ball. But, you know, the role players stepped up, and they have been stepping up the last few games consistently. So that's going to be big for them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to watch. I really don't think that it'll be – I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. I think that when we went to Shiloh, I think they were beatable, and I still think they're very beatable. I wouldn't say there was much negative to me. Obviously I don't know as much as you two do about basketball, but to me, don't think that there's much of a difference. I think that, you know, we may switch up defensive game plan, but I think we go in with the same intensity that we had on offense. I think we're aggressive on offense. I wouldn't say that there was much bad from the Shiloh game, and I think they're a really beatable team, and I think, you know, especially with that home court advantage, I think that we should win that game.
I think if we played like we did last time and if we use our advantages, Kais Patton had, 15 last night? We ride the hot hand. I don't think there's anybody that can stop him in the conference.
Yeah. I'm excited for the game. Tip-off is on Friday, and we thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we will see y'all next week.